To prevent therefore this paltry misfortune to himself, would a man of humanity be willing to sacrifice the lives of 100 million of his brethren, provided he had never seen them? Paltry misfortune to himself. Would a person sacrifice lots of people for a misfortune to himself? Fine, let's keep that aside. The man within immediately calls to us that we value ourselves too much and other people too little, and that by doing so we render ourselves the proper object of the contempt and indignation of our brethren. That means we value ourselves and not others, and therefore people should actually criticize us. Okay. It is deeply impressed upon every tolerably good soldier who feels that he would become the scorn of his companions if he could be supposed capable of shrinking from danger or of hesitating either to expose or to throw away his life when the good of the service required it. In other words, that people should, a good soldier would possibly put himself at risk for the good of others. Now that is very obviously what we are also talking about in 2, where we are saying that we should value ourselves less and actually other people more. That means we should be able to give up for what other people would benefit from. So 3 and 2 are actually in that sense related. When the happiness of misery or misery of others depends in any respect upon our conduct, we dare not, as self-love might suggest to us, prefer the interest of one to that of many. So 4 also runs with the idea in 2. You can't only think about yourself, you got to think about what is good for everybody else. 5. Neither is this sentiment confined to men of extraordinary magnanimity and virtue. So that means it's not only to people who are very great, it's also to people more common than that. And that happens in 3. Upon every tolerably good soldier. Now, what does 1 do? It talks about sacrificing other people to avoid a misfortune to yourself, whereas all the others talk about the value to yourself should actually not be important when you consider what you can do for value for other people. So it's not about misfortune. For that reason, 1, which actually in some sense is talking about the same things in a slightly different sense, but it putting down to would you want to sacrifice people to avoid misfortune of your own, whereas all the others are saying that you must realize that if a bigger benefit is to be derived from others, then you should not look so much as benefit that you can derive yourself. So that's what happens in 2, 3, 4 and 5, but not in 1. So 1 is the odd statement out, but let's see how 2, 3, 4 and 5 work. You realize that 5 and 3 are related. Neither is the sentiment confined to men of extraordinary magnanimity, it's actually impressed upon every good soldier. So 5 and 3 are related, but they would end. Then what do we have then? 4 would start. When the happiness of misery or misery of others depends in any respect on our conduct, we should not prefer the interest of one to that of many. The man within us actually asks us to value, should get us to recognize that we shouldn't value ourselves too much, because if we did, we would be the object of contempt. And this is not something that only people who are very great do. Even every tolerably good soldier also does the same thing. So I'd actually want to move from 4 to 2 to 3, 5 to 3. And 1, because it talks about misfortune that we want to avoid by sacrificing other people, is not part of the context. Okay.